Welcome, I'm Caren, and this is restorative yoga for the fourth chakra, the heart chakra. Also known as Anahata in Sanskrit, this space in the center of our chest is the space of compassion and love. And when unbalanced and undernourished, the heart center can tend to turn toward judgment against self and others. So we will balance and awaken this area together with restorative yoga poses, as well as some hand gestures and affirmations, all geared toward nourishing the heart center. You're going to need 3 blankets and 1 bolster. And let's start in a comfortable seat. I invite you to sit on your bolster or propped up on one of your blankets. I like to take one of my blankets, fold it thickly, and then sit with the corner of the blanket facing my shins. Once you feel your knees release and relax, in any comfortable seat of your choice, let's form Padma Mudra. This is lotus. We'll take the hands together and then open all the fingers, but let the thumbs and the little fingers remain connected. Place this toward the center of the chest, a few inches away from the heart. And if you feel called to, close your eyes. You can also choose to gaze downward if that feels safer. And take a few breaths in and out here, entering into this practice together with the hand gesture for balancing the heart chakra, Lotus Mudra. Begin to be more intentional with your breath, deepening the breath slightly on both inhale and exhale. And as you feel the energy start to course through the body, the breath moves into those nooks and crannies of the abdomen and the heart that you haven't breathed into in a while. Allow yourself to arrive, bringing your whole heart into this practice, no matter if it feels broken, tender, vulnerable, angry, sad, whatever's here on your heart, welcome it in. And just let it talk for a moment to you silently, feeling and breathing into the heart space. Allow these words to become your own if they resonate. I open my heart to receive compassion and love. I open my heart to give compassion and love. My heart's true nature is compassion and love. Let the fingers come together to touch. Release the hands. Start to lift the gaze. And we'll transition into our first restorative yoga pose, which is a supported seated forward bend. So bring yourself to sit up on the edge of a blanket, similar to maybe how you just did, but this time let that fold be a little bit smaller, so you're a little bit closer to the floor as we extend the legs long. I'm going to take that corner of the blanket up to face the center of the mat, grab the bolster, and place that in front of me as I sit on the edge of the blanket. Extend the legs comfortably, and then we'll take the bolster on top of the legs, but we're going to do this seated forward bend one leg at a time. So I invite you to start with whatever leg you like. Maybe it's the right, letting it come into the side, setting the bolster on top of the other thigh. Now you have some options. If when you start to fold down over the bolster, there's a lot of space in between your chest and it, then use a rectangle fold blanket on top and curl under the end. As you start to fold, let your head touch down somewhere to the blanket. We want a lot of ease in the back, so no struggle or strain. I like to take a third blanket and roll it up, and then place that right on top. Then folding down with your forehead touching the blanket so the nose is free to breathe. Let your arms rest hooked underneath the blankets if you like, or just down to the sides with soft elbows. Relax into the legs, and also feel a sensation of relaxation in the back. All of the muscles starting to loosen their grip. And you are held and supported by the props rising up to meet you. So as you hold this position and make any other adjustments that you need, know that it's not about how this looks, but how it feels for you. So add as little or as many props as you like, until you can allow the back of your heart to broaden, to soften, and the front of your heart to feel supported, hugged and held by the space of the props in your arms. Now that you're settling in, invite breath deeper into your back body. Feel as you inhale a sense of horizontal expansion of the whole upper, middle, and lower back. And as you exhale, a willingness to let go, to soften some of the burdens of your heart, no matter what those are. Feel yourself get heavier and heavier with every exhale. Slowly on your next breath in, lift up through your chest, holding on to the props. We'll simply switch over to the other leg long in front. So lifting up the props, switching the legs. Settle back on in as you exhale. Make any minor adjustments on this side so the body's just as comfortable as before. And here we'll allow there to be more silence, room for stillness and silence in the practice, as a way of listening in, tuning into your own heart's needs and desires. So just open up that sense of inner hearing, knowing there's nothing that you need to do other than intend to open up to it. Just breathe and be. And listen to the heart as you enter silence now. Begin to awaken from this pose by lifting back upright with the head and the torso, setting the props off to the side. Extend both of your legs in front of you. Lean your hands back for a moment, spread the fingers out, elbows are soft, nice and supportive stance here, not locking out the elbows. And just lift up through the back of the heart, up toward the front of the chest, up toward the ceiling, leaning and tipping open the throat. A full breath in as the shoulder blades glide together. And then breathe out, chin in, heart softens, hands come forward. Let's transition into Mountain Brook. So come off of the blanket that you are seated on. Open it up one time so it's about as wide as your mat. And then take the long side and roll it up tightly into a rolled blanket. Leave that at one side of your mat. And we'll create 2 rectangle fold blankets with the other 2. You can find more on blanket folds in my Restorative Yoga book, or just wing it and make it look like how it looks on my mat right now. We'll fold the long sides over and stack 2 blankets right on top of the other. Leave about a hand's width of space in between these blanket stacks. And then take your bolster widthwise across the other side of your mat. Swing your legs over top and extend the legs long with the knees hooked on top of the bolster. Then lie down and the shoulder blades will rest here on the first 2 blankets. But the tops of the shoulders are going to keep going down into the floor. And then the back of the neck will be lifted by the blanket roll. The chin then will reach straight up toward the ceiling, and the arms can go to a T with the palms face up. Make any last adjustments here so you feel even more comfortable. If you notice that the low back aches, I suggest taking a higher bolster stack underneath your knees, or removing one of the blankets underneath the back of your heart. Option to close the eyes. Take a few fuller breaths into the back of the heart, really filling up, feeling the chest expand. And as you exhale, perhaps through the mouth, sigh and release yourself into the floor. The shoulders grow heavy, fingers loosen. Do this a couple more times. Inhaling nose, exhaling mouth, fully surrendering all of the tissues and bones in toward the earth. And when you've completed those rounds of breath, close the lips, relax the tongue and the jaw, the whole face, especially the forehead and the scalp. And continue that gentle conversation with your heart, where you're listening. And it might not be obvious what the heart's saying, and the heart may not say it with words. Just stay curious, open and receptive to allowing this space to be nourished through rest and stillness. Relax even more. And I'll let you know when it's time to transition. Find little movements into the fingers and the toes. One knee at a time. Bend in toward the heart and plant your feet on the bolster. Roll over onto your side of choice. Resting here with closed eyes in a fetal position. Just noticing how the body feels now as you press yourself up to a seat. As the eyes start to open, remain attentive to just this moment, this sensation in the heart as we transition into supported child's pose. So we'll take the bolster widthwise up one half of the mat, rather lengthwise up one half of the mat. Sliding both of the blankets off to the side, you may choose to use one of the rectangle fold blankets and take the other blanket roll that you had, unroll it just a little, about halfway, and place that underneath the ankles as the knees go wide on either side of the bolster. If your feet tend to fall asleep in child's pose because of the pressure on the ankles, this can help. If you would prefer not to use this blanket roll underneath your feet, no problem, just pull it to the side. We'll exhale and come down on top of the bolster. The arms go forward, palms flat, and turn a cheek down. Check in and allow the heart and the hips to be in one line. And if the hips are very raised, then I simply recommend taking the other blanket, stacking it on top of the bolster, and doing that as much as necessary so that you feel completely held when your chest is on the bolster in front of you. Feel the front of your heart held, warm against the blanket. The back of your heart light. Maybe a slight coolness in the back against the open air. Relax your tongue and your eyes. Let the breath be completely natural. And make the gentle intention again to be open, receptive to any conversation the heart may have for you. On a breath in, feel voluminous into the back. And on the breath out, start to make movements into your hands. Taking your time, slide your hands back in toward the bolster, toward you, and press up into table, lifting the hips, walk the knees back. Extend the right leg fully all the way, tuck the toes under. And feel all of that blood rush back into the knee. We'll do the same thing to the other side. Setting both of the knees back down, we'll set up the props, moving them forward, having a comfortable seat maybe on your heels so that we can come into a basic relaxation pose with our chests elevated. So you'll need one of the blankets that's in the rectangle fold and place that up one half of your mat. We'll unroll fully the blanket roll. Take the short sides together, fold it over. Take the short side again, fold it over. And place this thickly double square fold blanket here at the edge. We'll use the other two blankets as well, other blanket and bolster. So the bolster is going to go widthwise across the mat. This will be a support for the knees. And then finally, we'll take this last blanket, open it up with the long side. Let's roll it up and place that under the ankles. Now aligning yourself so that the spine We'll touch the middle of the rectangle fold blanket on the floor. Let yourself lower there now. You're not sitting quite on the edge of the blanket, just to the edge. Come down and let the head rest. That's elevated on top of the other blanket. Open the arms wide into a V with the palms up. Make adjustments with the legs so they're nice and wide. The toes flop outward. Feel the gentle lift at the back of the heart, the back of the shoulder blades. And then close the eyes and enter into stillness. It may take a few breaths for you to really let go of any residual tension, whether that's mental, emotional, or physical. Now is the time to rest. Nothing to do or find out or control. Permission to relax. I'll keep time and let you know when to return. Identify the feeling of breath moving the abdomen. The feeling of breath moving the chest. And the feeling of breath passing over the upper lip through the nostrils. Make any small movements that you like to break the spell of stillness. Just moving and stretching as you feel called. And eventually, with a few deeper, nourishing breaths, hug your knees inward toward the heart, setting them against the bolster with the feet. Roll onto a side of your choice. curling up into a ball and keeping the eyes closed if you can. Slowly press up to a seat. Take any comfortable seat to end your practice. We'll arrange the hands back in Padma Mudra, Lotus Mudra at the heart. Bathing yourself in the feelings that the practice has brought you. Once more, feel and sense into this tender heart space. Offer yourself love, compassion, releasing judgment and reaction to how you showed up here today. In such a process, to hold ourselves in this space, and we can tend to focus on the negative. Just for this moment, feel yourself bloom with openness to new possibilities, new ways of being and loving. You can always start over with this next breath. Close the fingers together here in Anjali Mudra, a gentle bow of the chin toward the heart to acknowledge it and all the realized beings who have brought the knowledge of yoga to us. Release the hands, begin to open the eyes. And as you become reoriented to the space surrounding you, just check in. Go easy on yourself today and always. If you enjoyed this practice, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments too how it went for you. I'm always curious. You can find other videos in this series of restorative yoga for the chakras in the playlist that I link below or on my website. I look forward to practicing with you again sometime soon.